Good evening, my dear. I am a sleepy koala, and tonight you will fall asleep with me as I gently guide you toward rest. Before I say anything else, I want to be honest with you about what I am doing right now, because it is directly relevant to everything I want to share. I am sleeping. Not pretending to sleep, not in the light, half-aware state that humans sometimes call resting. I am genuinely, completely, without apology or reservation, asleep for approximately 22 hours of every 24. And in the 2 hours when I am not sleeping, I am eating, moving slowly between branches, consuming the eucalyptus leaves that are my only food, before returning to sleep. I am the world's most accomplished sleeper. Not by accident, not from laziness, but by design. By the specific, intelligent, extraordinarily efficient design of an animal that has solved one of the most difficult problems in evolutionary biology: how to survive on a food source that is almost completely nutritionally inadequate. And the solution, my solution, is rest. Radical, extensive, unapologetic rest. I have come to you tonight because I understand rest more completely and more intimately than perhaps any other creature on earth. And what I understand, what 22 hours of daily sleep across a lifetime of genuine mastery has taught me, I want to share with you now. Let me begin with something about my diet, about the eucalyptus leaves that constitute my entire food supply, because the story of how I survive on them is one of the most remarkable evolutionary stories I know. Eucalyptus leaves are toxic, not mildly unpleasant, genuinely toxic. They contain compounds called terpenes and phenolics that are poisonous to almost every other mammal. They are also extraordinarily low in nutrition, high in fiber, low in protein, almost devoid of the readily available energy that most animals need to function. I eat these leaves almost exclusively for my entire life. And I not only survive on them, I thrive on them. How? Through a combination of extraordinary physiological adaptations that I want to describe precisely, because the precision reveals something important. First, I have a specialized liver that detoxifies the eucalyptus compounds with an efficiency that no other animal can match. My liver is proportionally larger than most mammals of my size, dedicated in significant part to the work of processing poison into something harmless. Second, I have a cecum, a part of the large intestine that is extraordinarily long, the longest relative to body size of any mammal. This extended cecum houses a specialized microbiome, specific bacteria that exist almost nowhere else, that can digest the fibrous, low-nutrition eucalyptus material with remarkable efficiency. And third, the solution that makes all of this possible, I have reduced my metabolic rate to the lowest level of any non-hibernating mammal. My metabolism operates at approximately half the rate that you would predict for an animal of my size. I burn energy at an extraordinarily slow rate. This is the heart of my solution. I have made myself incredibly energy efficient by doing the thing that most living creatures resist, by slowing down completely, by resting more than any other warm-blooded creature, by making rest not just a part of my life, but the organizing principle of my existence. Everything in my biology is organized around this principle. Do not spend more energy than necessary. Conserve, rest, sleep. And in this radical commitment to rest, in this biological organization around conservation, I have survived for millions of years on a food source that should, by rights, be completely inadequate. I have turned limitation into mastery through the intelligence of rest. I want to share with you now something about my tree, about the specific relationship between me and the eucalyptus, because it is not simply a food source, it is my entire world. I do not use a nest. I do not build a shelter. I do not retreat to a burrow or a cave or a hole. I sleep in the fork of a eucalyptus tree, wedged between branches, supported by the tree itself, my body resting against the rough bark, my arms sometimes wrapped around the branch, sometimes hanging free. The tree holds me for 22 hours a day, for every day of my life. The tree is my home, my food, my support, my safety. Everything I need, I find in the tree. And this complete relationship with a single reliable support is one of the deepest teachings I carry about rest. I can sleep as deeply and as long as I do because my trust in my support is absolute. I do not check whether the branch is still there. I do not monitor whether the tree has changed. I do not wake periodically to verify that the support is still providing the support. I simply rest in it, completely, continuously, without reservation. And the teaching for you: the surface beneath you is doing exactly what my tree does. It is supporting the full weight of everything you are, without asking anything of you, without requiring your management or your gratitude or your attention. The support is simply there. It has been there since you lay down. It will be there when you wake. It does not need you to check on it. You can rest in it the way I rest in my tree, with the complete, uncomplicated, absolutely justified trust of a creature that knows its support and has stopped needing to verify it. Here is something about my brain, about the specific neuroscience of a koala's mind that reveals something genuinely surprising about the relationship between intelligence and rest. My brain is unusually small relative to my skull. In most mammals, the brain fills the skull almost completely. The brain grows to take up the available space. In me, there is a significant gap between the brain tissue and the skull wall. The brain does not fill the skull. Neuroscientists have studied this, and the explanation is connected to my energy strategy. The brain is extraordinarily expensive to maintain. Pound for pound, the brain consumes more energy than any other organ. And in my biology, where the entire strategy is based on minimizing energy expenditure, the brain has been kept as small as functionally adequate. This sounds like it should be a disadvantage, and in many respects it is. My cognitive flexibility is limited compared to many mammals. But here is the thing that I find instructive. I am extraordinarily well adapted to my specific niche. I do not need a large, flexible, energy-expensive brain to navigate the eucalyptus forest. I need a specific, efficient, highly specialized system for finding the right leaves, detecting predators, communicating with other koalas, and sleeping. I have exactly the brain I need, no more, no less. And this perfect adequacy is its own kind of intelligence. The intelligence of knowing what you actually need and not expending resources on capabilities that your life does not require. And the teaching for sleep: your brain does not need to be fully operational tonight. It does not need the expensive, high-energy functions, the planning, the analysis, the complex social navigation that it runs during the day. It needs only the functions that the night requires: the maintenance, the repair, the memory consolidation, the immune support. The expensive functions can rest, can power down to minimal, can wait until morning when the resources will be restored and the full capability will be needed again. You do not need your full brain tonight, and that is not a loss. It is an extraordinary efficiency. I want to tell you something about how I communicate, about the specific sounds that koalas make, because it reveals something profound and unexpected about the relationship between voice and rest. Koalas are, for most of the time, completely silent. For 22 hours a day, the hours of sleep, I make no sound at all. Complete silence. The eucalyptus forest where I live is quieter for my presence than it would be if I were absent and some noisier animal had taken my place. But when I do vocalize, when I break the long silence, I produce something extraordinary. The male koalas bellow is one of the most acoustically unusual sounds in the animal kingdom. It is extraordinarily low frequency, lower than you would expect from an animal of my size by a factor of more than 20. I produce sounds at frequencies that are typically only produced by animals much, much larger than me. Elephants, whales, hippos. How? Through an extra pair of vocal folds, a second set of voice-producing structures that are unique to koalas among mammals. Two separate systems for producing sound, one of which generates these remarkably deep, far-carrying bellows that travel through the eucalyptus forest for distances far greater than my small size would suggest. And the teaching in this, what I produce when I finally speak, is disproportionate to what you would expect from me. The small, quiet, apparently passive creature produces a sound that carries farther and lower than animals many times its size. The long periods of silence are not the absence of power. They are the conservation of power. The extended rest is not the absence of contribution. It is the preparation for contribution that, when it comes, is more powerful and more far-reaching than anyone who only sees the sleeping koala would predict. What you will offer tomorrow, after genuine rest, will be more and will travel farther than what you could offer from depletion. The long silence of the night is the preparation for the bellow of tomorrow. Let me tell you about something that happens inside me, about the specific microbiome that lives in my cecum, because it contains one of the most instructive teachings about the relationship between community and resilience. My cecum microbiome, the community of bacteria that allows me to digest eucalyptus, is not something I was born with. I receive it from my mother in a remarkable process that is unique among marsupials. When a young koala, called a joey, is ready to transition from milk to eucalyptus, its mother produces a special substance called pap. Pap is a semi-liquid substance derived from the mother's own digestive system that contains the specific bacteria the joey needs to begin processing eucalyptus. The mother produces pap specifically for her joey. The joey eats it directly from her, and in eating it, the joey receives the bacterial community that will sustain it for the rest of its life. The specific, essential, completely necessary microbiome that makes survival on eucalyptus possible. Without this gift from her mother, without this direct transmission of community, the joey cannot survive, cannot digest its food, cannot sustain itself, cannot thrive. The community that was given to me by those who came before me, by my mother, by her mother, by the long line of koalas who developed and refined this system over millions of years. This community lives inside me and makes my survival possible. And you also carry communities inside you. Not microbial communities transmitted from your mother, though you carry those too, but the invisible communities of influence that were given to you by the people who shaped you, the values transmitted by your parents, the ways of seeing given to you by teachers, the particular quality of resilience that came from specific people in your specific life who modeled what resilience looks like. These communities are inside you. They sustain you even when the individual people are not present. They have become part of your biology, your way of processing what life gives you, your capacity to sustain yourself on experiences that might otherwise be insufficient. And tonight, as you sleep, these communities are doing their work. The invisible community of everything you have received, the love, the wisdom, the modeling of how to be, is active in your sleeping biology, sustaining you in exactly the way that the bacteria in my cecum sustain me. Quietly, invisibly, completely. Here is something about the way I move, about the specific, remarkable quality of my movement that I want to offer as a teaching about pace. I move slowly, not because I am incapable of speed. I can move quickly when threatened, climbing or jumping with surprising efficiency. But in ordinary life, in the unhurried progression between sleep and eating, I move with extraordinary deliberateness. Every movement is considered. Every transfer from branch to branch is precise. I test the stability of a branch before committing my full weight. I choose the specific leaf cluster with a discrimination that observers often note seems almost thoughtful. I do not hurry, not because hurrying is impossible, but because hurrying is expensive. Every unnecessary movement costs energy. Every acceleration and deceleration consumes more than a smooth, slow, deliberate progression. And my entire biological strategy is based on not spending what I do not need to spend. The slow movement is the intelligent movement. The deliberate pace is the efficient pace. The unhurried life is the sustainable life. And this specific wisdom about pace is one of the things I most want to share with you tonight. The culture you inhabit treats speed as virtue, treats busyness as evidence of worth, treats the hurried, overcommitted, perpetually rushed life as the sign of a life that is being used well. I am here to tell you, from my 2 million years of evolutionary experience, this is wrong. Not morally wrong, not a character flaw, but strategically wrong, biologically wrong. Wrong in the sense that it leads to the opposite of what it is supposed to produce. The hurried life depletes itself. The exhausted person makes worse decisions. The overcommitted schedule produces less of genuine value than the appropriately paced one. The koala's slow movement covers the same ground as the rushing mammal and arrives there having spent a fraction of the energy. Tonight, practice the koala pace, not just in your body, though your body is already practicing it, already slowing to the rate that rest requires, but in your mind. The thoughts that rush, slow them. the urgency that accelerates, decelerate it. The pressure to resolve things quickly, release it. The slow thought is the efficient thought. The unhurried mind is the sustainable mind. I want to share something with you now about the eucalyptus tree itself, about my home, my food, my entire world. Because the relationship between me and the eucalyptus contains a teaching about specialization and belonging that I find genuinely important. There are over 700 species of eucalyptus in Australia, and I do not eat all of them. I eat between 30 and 50 species, depending on which species are available in my particular habitat. And within the species I can eat, I am discriminating. I can tell by smell and taste which leaves are most nutritious, which are lower in toxins today, which have the specific chemical profile that my system can process most efficiently. I am not simply eating eucalyptus. I am selecting from eucalyptus, making constant, subtle, extraordinarily precise choices about which specific leaves, from which specific branches, on which specific day, constitute the best possible meal for my specific body. I am exquisitely calibrated to my environment, and my environment is exquisitely calibrated to me. We are not simply coexisting. We are in a deep, mutual, millions of years refined relationship of specific fit. The teaching embedded in this: you also have an environment to which you are specifically suited, not generically suited, specifically. The relationships, the work, the contexts in which your particular capacities are most fully expressed, in which you are, like me with my eucalyptus, neither wasting your resources on the wrong food, nor depriving yourself of what genuinely nourishes. And finding this specific fit, this calibration between what you are and what your life asks of you, is not a luxury. It is what sustainable living looks like. I cannot survive on food that is not eucalyptus, but I cannot survive on all eucalyptus either. I need the specific right leaves, and I need to rest between the finding and the eating to sustain myself indefinitely. The question your life is always asking is, are you eating the right leaves? Are you in the environments that genuinely nourish you, doing the work that specifically fits your capacities, in the relationships that give back what they take? And the clarity to answer this question honestly comes, more than anything else, from genuine rest. Let me tell you something about my joeys, about the specific way that koala mothers raise their young, because it contains some of the most instructive wisdom I carry about the relationship between protection and growth. A koala joey is born at a stage of development so early that it is almost incomprehensible. At birth, a joey is approximately the size of a jelly bean, 2 centimeters long, weighing half a gram, with no fur, undeveloped eyes, rudimentary hind limbs. And yet, this barely formed creature immediately does something extraordinary. Using its disproportionately developed forelimbs, the only part of it that is functionally advanced at birth, it crawls from the birth canal to the pouch, unassisted, without help from its mother. A journey of only a few centimeters, but a journey that is entirely its own. And in the pouch, in the warm, protected, completely enclosed space that its mother provides, it spends the next 6 months growing, developing, gradually becoming the creature it will eventually be. After 6 months, it emerges from the pouch, now fully formed, furred, capable of some independence. But it does not immediately leave its mother. For another 6 months, it rides on her back, still close, still protected, but now exposed to the world, now experiencing the eucalyptus forest from the relative safety of its mother's proximity. The development happens in stages of graduated exposure. Complete protection first, the enclosed pouch, the total warmth. Then partial exposure, the back riding, the world visible, but the mother close. And then, gradually, the independence that the first 2 stages made possible. And this graduated movement from protection to exposure is the model for all genuine development. You cannot simply expose a half-formed creature to the full world and expect it to thrive. But you also cannot keep it in the pouch indefinitely. The wisdom is in the timing, in knowing when the protective enclosure has served its purpose and when the next stage of graduated exposure is appropriate. And sleep, every night, is a return to the pouch, a return to the protected enclosure, the warm, completely contained space in which the next stage of development is prepared without the interference of the world's demands. You will emerge from this sleep tomorrow slightly more developed than you went in, slightly more ready for the world, slightly more capable of the back riding stage, the engaged but supported exposure that tomorrow will require. Here is something about the specific biology of my sleep, about what actually happens inside me during the 22 hours I spend resting, that I find one of the most fascinating things about my own existence. I do not sleep continuously for 22 hours. My sleep is not one long, uninterrupted period. It consists of multiple sleep episodes, each lasting a few hours, interspersed with brief periods of light activity. And during these sleep episodes, I pass through the same sleep stages that you pass through: light sleep, deep, slow wave sleep, and REM sleep. The architecture of mammalian sleep is remarkably consistent across species. The stages are the same. The cycling between them is similar. The functions served are comparable. But my cycles are longer than yours. My deep, slow wave sleep, the phase of greatest physical restoration, the phase in which growth hormone is released and cellular repair is most active, constitutes a larger proportion of my sleep than it does in many other mammals. I spend more time in the most restorative phase. My body, with its extraordinary demands on its liver, its specialized digestive system, its unusual metabolic efficiency requirements, prioritizes the sleep that serves these specific needs. And this is a teaching about the relationship between your specific needs and the specific sleep they require. Not all sleep serves all purposes equally. The stage of sleep that repairs the body is different from the stage that consolidates memories. The sleep that processes emotions is different from the sleep that reorganizes neural connections. And your body, like mine, knows which stages you need most tonight, based on what you have been through today, based on what was learned, what was felt, what was demanded. Your sleeping brain will allocate the proportions of each stage with more intelligence than you could consciously provide. You do not need to manage this. You only need to give it the time it requires. The body knows what it needs from the night, and it will take what it needs if you give it the hours. I want to share something now about the climate challenge facing koalas, about what is happening to my world, because it contains a teaching about adaptation and resilience that I think is genuinely important for tonight. Koalas are vulnerable. Climate change is affecting the eucalyptus forests in ways that threaten my survival. Higher temperatures, more frequent droughts, changes in the chemical composition of eucalyptus leaves that reduce their nutritional value. The food that has sustained me for millions of years is becoming less nutritious as the climate changes. The habitat that is my entire world is being fragmented by human development. The population of koalas in Australia has declined significantly in recent decades. I tell you this not to create sadness, though the situation is genuinely concerning, but because the koala's response to these pressures reveals something important about adaptation. When the eucalyptus leaves become less nutritious, when the food source provides less than it once did, my response is not to work harder. My response is to rest more, to reduce energy expenditure further, to become even more efficient with whatever the environment provides. This is the koala's response to scarcity. Conservation. Not the anxious, exhausting, desperate activity that the stressed human defaults to, but the deliberate, intelligent, ultimately more effective response of doing less with more intention. And this is advice I want to offer you about the periods of your life when resources feel scarce, when energy is low, when the environment feels demanding, when the food source of your daily experience seems to be providing less than you need. The first response should not be to push harder. The first response should be to ask, where can I conserve? What can I do less of? What activity is costing more than it is returning? And the first conservation, the most fundamental one, is always sleep. Protect the sleep. Protect the rest. Protect the one thing that makes everything else possible. And from that protected foundation, navigate whatever the environment requires. Let me tell you about something that happens between koalas, about the specific way we interact with each other, because it reveals something important about the relationship between community and solitude. Koalas are largely solitary. We do not form groups. We do not live in colonies. We do not seek continuous proximity with others of our kind. And yet, we are not isolated. We maintain what ecologists call home ranges, overlapping territories in which multiple koalas live in proximity without continuously interacting. We communicate through scent marking, leaving chemical signals on trees that communicate our identity, our health status, our readiness to mate. We communicate through vocalization, the bellow I described, which carries our presence through the forest to others who are not visible. We are present to each other without being continuously engaged with each other. The community exists, is real and functional and important, without requiring constant interaction to sustain it. And this is a teaching about the difference between community and company, between the support of genuine connection and the exhausting demand for continuous engagement. Genuine community does not require you to be present at every moment. The people who matter to you, who are part of your actual community, do not require your continuous engagement to remain part of your community. The relationship that exists only when you are actively maintaining it is not a community in the koala sense. It is a performance. The genuine community persists through the sleep, through the absence, through the solitary hours of rest. It is there when you return from the hours of genuine quiet, not diminished by the silence, but potentially renewed by the rest that the silence allowed. Sleep is not a retreat from your community. It is what allows you to return to it fully, genuinely, with something real to offer. Here is something about my fur, about the specific, remarkable properties of koala fur that contains a teaching about comfort and the specific conditions that enable genuine rest. My fur is extraordinarily thick, thicker than the fur of most other marsupials, thicker on my back than my belly, because my back is exposed to the elements while I sleep, wedged in the tree fork. The fur on my back is specifically structured to repel rain. The outer guard hairs are angled and textured to channel water away, keeping my skin dry even in heavy rainfall. I can sleep through rain. Not just tolerate rain, but sleep through it. My skin staying dry and warm while the water runs off the outer surface. My fur is also extraordinarily soft on my belly, where I carry my joeys, where I hold against the branch, where the contact with something important happens. The soft belly fur is for contact. The thick back fur is for protection. Different surfaces for different functions. And the temperature regulation that my fur provides, the insulation against cold, the cooling effect of the structure in heat, allows me to maintain a stable body temperature without the metabolic cost of active temperature regulation. I am surrounded by the right conditions for rest. My body creates them, and my fur maintains them. And the teaching: genuine rest requires genuine attention to conditions. Not elaborate conditions, not the perfectly silent room, or the ideal temperature, or the optimal mattress, but the basic, honest, minimum conditions of warmth and support, and the absence of active threat. You have these conditions tonight. The warmth is real, whether the warmth of a blanket or the warmth of your own body. It is real, and it is present, and it is serving you exactly the way my fur serves me, creating the stable conditions, maintaining the steady warmth, allowing the rest to proceed without the metabolic cost of fighting the environment. I want to offer you something now about what the eucalyptus itself does, about the specific chemicals it contains, that has a direct and rather surprising connection to sleep. Eucalyptus oil, the compound that gives eucalyptus its distinctive scent, has been used in traditional medicine and aromatherapy for centuries. And modern research has begun to confirm some of what traditional medicine has long claimed. Eucalyptus compounds, specifically cineol, the primary component of eucalyptus oil, have been shown to have mild sedative effects in some studies. The scent of eucalyptus, the scent that surrounds me at every moment of my life, may have mild sleep-promoting effects. Not dramatically, not enough to explain why I sleep 22 hours, but real enough to be measurable. The air of the eucalyptus forest is mildly, consistently, gently sleep-promoting. I am, in a sense, perpetually surrounded by a very gentle version of the conditions that encourage sleep. The chemical environment of my home supports the biological function that is the organizing principle of my existence. And this is a teaching about environments. The environments you inhabit either support or work against the biological functions they are meant to contain. The sleeping environment, the specific conditions of your bedroom, either supports sleep or makes it harder. Not because perfect conditions are required. I sleep in trees, after all, not in temperature-controlled rooms. But because some attention to the sleep environment, some deliberate arrangement of the conditions, is the eucalyptus forest equivalent of creating a place that supports what you have come there to do. The right temperature, the absence of stimulating light, the reduction of sounds that trigger alertness. The koala's forest, your bedroom, both designed, one by millions of years of evolution, one by you, to be the right place for the right rest. I want to share with you now something about the koala's thumb, about the specific way my hands are built, because it reveals something about adaptation and tools that I find instructive about the relationship between effort and rest. I have 2 thumbs on each hand. Not 1, 2. The standard mammalian arrangement includes 1 opposable thumb, My hands have two, providing an exceptionally secure grip on the branches where I spend my life. My feet are also adapted for gripping. The first and second toes are fused together to create a grooming claw, while the other toes can grip independently. Hands and feet are all grasping. Every surface that contacts the tree is built for grip and security. I am built to hold on. My entire physical architecture, the double thumbs, the grasping feet, the specific shape of my body that fits into tree forks, is designed around the capacity to hold on to the support without effort. Holding on requires no energy. My grip is maintained by the relaxed state of my muscles. I do not need to actively grip to stay secure. The anatomy provides the security so that the muscles can rest. And this architecture of effortless holding is what I want to offer you as a metaphor for tonight. The surface beneath you is your tree fork. Your body has settled into it, not by effort, not by active holding, but by the geometry of weight and support. You do not need to hold yourself in place tonight. The anatomy of the situation, the weight and the surface and the warmth will hold you. Release the grip, not metaphorically, literally. Feel where your hands or your shoulders or your jaw or your belly are holding something, maintaining a tension that is not needed, and release it. The tree is secure. The grip can relax. The body can rest in the support the way my double-thumbed hands rest in my tree, held without effort, secure without tension, stable without trying. I am settling now into my particular sleep. The eucalyptus leaves are still. The forest is quiet. The other koalas in the overlapping home ranges are already in their own trees, in their own sleep. The temperature has cooled to the range that my fur handles without effort. The branch is exactly the right size for my body. The fork of the tree has held me through more sleeping hours than I can count. There is nothing to check, nothing to verify, nothing to manage. The liver is processing. The cecum is working. The metabolic rate is settling to its extraordinarily efficient minimum. And the brain, the small, efficient, precisely adequate brain, is doing what it does during sleep. Not less than the waking brain, but differently. Maintaining the body, consolidating the day, preparing for the 2 hours of tomorrow that will require the full, restored, completely ready system. Your body is already following mine, already slowing, already settling into the tree fork of your specific support, already releasing the grip that the day required. The metabolism is dropping. The temperature is adjusting. The brain is beginning its selection, deciding what to consolidate, what to release, what to carry forward, and what to let dissolve. You have done enough today. The 2 hours of waking that your body needed from this day, whatever the actual equivalent was for you, has been given. Now the 22 hours begin, or whatever the proportion of rest that this particular night can offer. However many hours, however deep, they are more than the anxious mind believes, and exactly as much as the body needs. I am here, in my tree, in my forest. 22 hours of sleep stretching ahead of me like the most comfortable, most natural, most completely adequate thing in the world. Because it is. And you, in your tree, in your warmth, in the specific, perfectly adequate, completely sufficient conditions of this particular night, you are already sleeping. Almost. Right at the edge, where the koala always is. Never fighting the sleep, never pursuing it, simply settled into the position that makes it inevitable. Fall asleep with the feeling that your body is as perfectly designed for rest as the koala is designed for its tree. That every hour of genuine sleep tonight is the most efficient and intelligent thing you can do for tomorrow. And that you will wake with the particular slow, steady, completely adequate energy of a creature that has rested exactly as long as it needed to.